This is one of the secrets of the ancients. You don't have to hold the key. It's already access is granted. It's about enlightenment. It's about wisdom. You have to receive a certain amount of wisdom and acknowledge that everything that's around you and see it for what it is. There is nothing left for you to learn. You got to cheat the system and what was set for you. You're poor, you're rich. That was the importance of Saturnalia, the role reversal, because Saturn is on its way. The promised land is only special because someone told us it was. Saturn's magic and influence on this system is king. That dude activates an all-seeing eye. This is why the holy day is on Saturday. You are being watched very closely. Our religious institutions use magic itself. Our whole civilization, society is in a Anunnaki shadow.
And welcome to the Stellified podcast. I'm doing something a little bit different today. My usual way of finding someone to chat to on this podcast tends to me going out, reaching, maybe finding someone that I've listened to and had an interest in, and then inviting them on the show. And I've been fortunate to speak to some amazing guests over the past couple of months since starting this podcast. But I put out a video not too long ago, and it was about Saturn Cube. And there was a gentleman that was bringing knowledge to the comments. And I approached the gentleman and said, how do you fancy coming on and giving us a bit more information? The gentleman is here now with me all the way from New York City, so I'm absolutely honoured. And he goes by the name of Focus. And Focus, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's much appreciated.
I appreciate you, sir, for having me. This is an awesome experience.
Well, it's wonderful to have you on. And I know you're keeping your identity hidden, but maybe you want to explain your background on why you've had to research this so heavily and why it's important to you.
Okay, so I didn't have the normal life that, everyone is supposed to have. I've been through a few weird experiences since a child. And usually when weird stuff happens to you, it always kind of happens to you. And by the time I was an adult, I just had to figure out what those experiences was, which I did through my research that it's happened to countless other people. And that's just sometimes people are awakened inside of their sleep. I'm just going to walk everyone through it, through ancient civilization first and all the way to modern times, and how, the Sumerian tablets was, decoded correctly, because it's the codex to, everything. Mythology, the Bible, that is this main source of everything. So once you've mastered the Sumerian tablets, you've mastered everything around you. So I want to just introduce you to the Holy Trinity, the reason why there's the three God in every civilization and into modern times, why there's three doors on every building all over the world, or the three, structures, with the middle always the highest. So I'm just going to break down a little bit from what I've learned through along my journey, especially that magic is real, not the little card trick you see on TV, but like real magic, which is how most of the things in the Bible were done, if not, made up, because there's a lot of people online right now that are discussing how, there was no Exodus or different things that's popping up right now at the time of consciousness. And so I'm not, the only one. There's a lot of people in this background, and everyone's pieces of the puzzle fits together the whole thing. So, thank you for everyone that does the esoteric, research, because this is how we know how our ancestors did everything and how they were able to survive. And once everyone understands that the real sun is not the important sun, the one that shines in our face and we've drawn on pictures since we were a kid as the most important thing, wasn't the most important thing, and it was actually number 4 on the countdown. So yeah, just some really crazy stuff. And I've done a lot of research to back up everything that I'm saying, and it is going to blow everyone's mind. This is the greatest podcast interview of all time. Just bragging right now. So
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, let's dig in. So if you don't have a understanding of the Anunnaki, that's where the audience should really dig in first, because I'm not going to go into the whole entire story. I am going to skim over some of the passages of it so everyone's on the same page of the history of it. All right, so a long time ago, according to the Sumerian tablets, it's dated 300,000 years ago, so it predates our Bible and everything that's in it. That's the source of everything. So 300,000 plus years ago, there was a problem on the planet called Nibiru. I'm sure everyone's hearing about this 10th planet that's popping up in talk. Have you heard about that?
I have, yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah. So I've actually, one of my students pointed out in one of my carvings that there was 10 planets in representation of in that picture, and I was baffled by it because I'm like, what do they mean 10? There's only 9. And and then all of a sudden this talk of something in space tugging on Pluto, and I'm like, there it is. Everything comes back to full speed and full focus. So we're definitely going to get some things out there. But let's start with the Anunnaki first.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, on the planet they had an issue with the atmosphere. From all the war and catastrophe that they put their planet through, it messed up their ozone layer. So their biggest deal was to find gold, because I mean, like, these guys were the Minecraft kings of materials. They knew everything. Once gold is pulverized into a dust and released in the atmosphere, it fills in the gaps and the holes of the atmosphere. And this is what our space agencies like NASA, they coat their satellites with gold, rapids, so it can reflect the radiation of the harmful space and keep everything operational. So the same tactics are used today in today's time. So the character named Alalu that we're going to talk about first. He's the one that found Earth first. So he overthrows a king on this planet because things wasn't going good, and he felt he was in line to take the throne. He did it through violence, overtook it. So he explained, to the council that it was legit, and they went for it. After a while, things still were the same. They're doing searches for gold on the asteroid belt, and everyone's dying and not coming back because the asteroid belt, no one can get through it. By the way, so all of a sudden, this guy named Anu comes out of the woodwork, like, I have the direct line to this succession as well. And everyone agreed that he was right. So Alalu said, all right, I'll make you my cupbearer. Well, I'll make you side king and it was a trick bag. He was really his cupbearer, and that repeats in the Akkadian civilization as well in this story. But anyway. So, and it wasn't, happy that he was tricked in his spot. So he challenges him for the king of Nibiru. So Alalu accepts, and they fight. Alalu loses. Anu's expertise is martial arts. Um, so Alalu loses, and he runs away while everyone's celebrating Anu's win, jumps into a celestial ship with weapons, and takes off. Um, he knows that gold is the only salvation to getting his kingship back. So that's what he's on his mission to. He blasts through the uh, asteroid belt, makes it through safely, but it's not all him. That's the creator of all things involved in that. We'll discuss the creator of all things
Okay.
later. Okay,
Okay.
so on the way past through the different planets, Alalu describes each, moment. So when he gets to Saturn, he says that Saturn animated his ship. And before my eyes was open, I was like, "What does that mean? That is crazy." Reanimated his ship. That's nuts, So he explains how Jupiter was so huge, he was behind it, it blacked out space. I was like, "Oh wow, that's so cool." And fast forward, he gets to Earth with a rough landing. He reads that there's a high abundance of gold here, and that the air was breathable, things like that. He steps out of his ship. He walks around. He feels that he can't breathe that good, so he goes back in his ship, gets his eagle helmet, um, and his fish skin suit. Now, if you have you heard of the Dogon tribe?
No, I've not. No.
Oh, okay. They're a tribe in Africa that say that their god came from a star in Sirius constellation, where uh, where they could see this they know exactly where this planet is, where they shouldn't be able to see it without a telescope, and this African tribe doesn't have it. They drew
Right.
pictures of the galaxy, and they know like space knowledge, so
Wow.
everyone tours there. They're called the Dogon tribe, and their
Okay.
main god name is Amma, which is aka Amen. And this is
Uh,
why everyone says amen. There's so many hidden gods on this planet. But back to the Anunnaki story. So
okay.
the first thing Alalu sees once he gets on land is a serpent in a swampy, marshy area. He sees a serpent and he gets startled by it, and he kills it. Now, this is the first animal that he's seen on Earth. So this serpent takes an important representation in everything later because it was the first animal. They acknowledge everything. Uh, so fast forward. Oh yeah. Also, have you seen 65 million years ago? There was a movie. It plays that whole scene that I just told you, all the way up to that point. His daughter's sick in the movie versus the planet being sick, and he goes through the whole thing, blasting through the asteroid belt, sees the snake first. It's a movie on Netflix, 65 million years ago. So if you want a picture of Alalu traveling to Earth, you can just watch that movie. But
That's,
anyway, he sends a signal back. Hey, I'm the man now. I found this planet. It has gold. I want to be king of Earth. And it was like, oh, playing cool. That's, you didn't have to run, my man. Everything's good. Fine. I'm going to send Enki, which is the one of three of the Holy Trinity, the trio. I'm gonna send Enki and a few dudes to help you out and get things rolling. So they sent them. Alalu greeted them, and they tried to get things rolling. There was a slow process, although they got some gold. It wasn't enough to get the job done.
mhm.
So Anu sends the king of Nibiru. Anu, he sings his other son Enlil. Now Enlil's the militant one.
Okay.
He comes and gets everything's going, and they had different races of uh, minor aliens that wasn't as important as them that did, their hustle work too. So they had them digging for this gold and having them work really hard to produce this gold, and it was getting done. But over time, it was a rebellion over getting this job done. It was strenuous. So Enki had saw that there was a Homo sapien group that stood upright, that hung in trees and tree areas, and grunted when they spoke. And he realized that their genes was close enough that it could be manipulated with theirs and make them advance to do the work for them. Because you got to understand, these guys were living for over millions of years before our Earth was even rolling. There's different sections of space that was already going on. Everything didn't start with us. So there's people that's way highly more advanced than our species that can walk through walls and all kinds of amazing feats because they've mastered it. Their civilization didn't crumble over time and time again, and they were able to build up to a certain point where they were elite and everything. So we're at the bottom of the food chain at this point. We're still um, grunting and walking around hairy and stuff. So they manipulated us in their image. And they said we didn't complain about the work. We did it for rations and was happy about it. And then once the gold was situated and they were happy with the mass production and was pulverizing in their planet, that's when I believe they started going around and starting civilizations and playing gods in each civilization, um, and manipulated, people with their advanced knowledge and technology into submission, because that's what we all would do. So, yeah, I'm going to walk you through time and then up till today, and then we'll catch up on how that is still important and that's still around till to this day.
Okay,
Give me a
Focus.
second.
Is that how the missing link happens then?
I'm sorry.
Is that how the
Oh, yes,
missing link?
yes. Yeah, I get it. Yes, sir. Um, that's exactly what happened. Sorry, my camera went out.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
that's exactly what happened. There was all kinds of alterations through time, and when I started 500,000 years ago, I realized that. This is the Lord of the Rings, the movie right here. There's all different types of Homo sapiens with different names. I'm not even going to torture everyone with.
Yeah.
That's tall, that's short, big feet. Like all the characters from the movie, and the Neanderthals. That's just a whole nother story. I was told through documentaries that they could throw a human like 30 yards. And they hunted the men, Homo sapiens, and stole the women for procreation. So that was a scary time. We've been through a trial since the beginning of our existence.
Okay.
Everything has been a trial, and that's how they set the stage for us. So, yeah, that's what we're going to run through really quick. So, the Holy Trinity again is Anu, which is the king of Earth and the king of Nibiru. You're going to understand his everything that's symbolic that's associated with him. Enlil, the tyrant god, the sacrifice god, the reason why sacrifices even exist, and why it was so important. And then Enki, which is known as the salvation, or the one that gave us salvation, not in just the Sumerian story, but in every civilization in time. And today's time, he became the devil in modern Christianity. So I guess I'm just going to start with Enlil, because he's the horrible one. That's the
Okay.
one I served as Yahweh for 30 plus years. I'm sure everyone's seen videos of that. Yahweh's real identity is Enlil from the Anunnaki. So yeah, like this isn't some trip that I'm just on. You know, there's a lot of discussion over and I'm just going to show everyone the connection when you uh, go throughout time and see how they did everything. So Enlil, his representation is red hair. He's the reason for anything that's said red hair on this planet. It's through his doing. It's paying homage to him. Period. He's a jealous god. He showed jealousy all throughout the Sumerian tablets. This is his name tattooed, and he's a sacrifice god. His planet of representation is Jupiter. Um, Now, in civilizations, they also associated gods with planets because truly it's the planets that are, in control of everything. So they had to put their name on the planet so they could, get some praise because it has really nothing to do with any god on this planet. So that's why in most civilizations they're associated with a planet. Because it's the reason why everything exists. Space is a supercomputer, and every planet inside of it has a specific purpose that gives us life and laws of nature. But anyway, here we go. Enlil. So in India, Hindu belief he's Shiva, the destroyer, part of the Hindu trinity, benevolent, fearsome. And he's depicted as a yogi. He sent demons out of anger. Uh, so that's he yeah, and then the bull is the most sacred animal on this planet. Like even kings wasn't allowed to use the bull horns in representations. That's against the rules. So this is why India doesn't even eat bull meat
Okay.
to this day. So you'll see the bull all through his story as well. So uh, in ancient times, the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians, everybody was saying, "Hey, we got the same God. Hey, we got the same God." It was really a crazy experience. If they had the internet like I did, oh boy. So in Greece, he's Zeus, of course. Now, every civilization, he's the chief. Chief of the gods. He's associated with law and order. He's a thunder god. Um, uh, uh, his symbol is the bull. So Enlil was really good with weather magic. So that's why he always got the thunder symbol associated with him. And Roman, he was
Focus.
huh?
Focus. Sorry to interrupt you. It's
Uh-huh.
interesting you talk about the bull being such a sacred animal, and yet the in the West, and especially in Spain, for example, they do the
Okay.
bull fighting, don't they? And they're practically sacrificing a bull in front of
Yeah.
a crowd for sport.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so there's seriously something wrong with that in itself, anyway. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's that's clear attack, is it not? Symbolizing that.
Yeah, there's also the Jewish people burnt a cattle. Once Moses was going to get the Ten Commandments, they burnt the bull. And
Okay.
so like there's been times where the bull's been used in sacrifice, and there's also been times as it's been used as something that's just been so holy that even kings couldn't touch it. Because it was a symbol of the gods, and uh, they would rain down on you really hard.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah. So back to Enlil in Japan, he was Rajan, aka Raiden. He was the god of lightning, thunder, fire, floods, and storms. Depicted fierce, aggressive facial expressions. So like he's always been like the tough guy. in every civilization. He's also known to be a little pervert in almost every civilization, as you know, like Zeus, you know, all the things he did. Rajan, little girls had to be warned to cover their belly button from him because he would take them. So yeah, this guy, you'll see,
Wow.
like he's a rock. And then now you get where, you know, in the Bible where you were allowed to take a girl from the field and make her yours, and then after that, if you wanted to marry her, you could. This is the inspiration for this type of behavior in
Wow.
Scripture. Um, After the Exodus, well, during, I'm sorry, not after, during the Exodus, it was said that God told Moses to raid a town, and you know the spoils after they took that town, Yahweh got a percentage of that. That include livestock, that included gold, and you know who likes gold, and that included 33 women. Now I don't know what a spirit needs 33 women for, but they definitely wasn't sacrificed because they didn't believe in sacrificing and things like that. So you know, where did these girls go?
And it's
Anyway,
that number as well, isn't it, Focus? 33, which is used all the time.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I did a list of three. I'll run through that
Okay,
after.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. There's and that's how you know it has the Anunnaki footprint on it. 3,
Ah,
7, 12, and 9. So in every
okay.
civilization, I'm seeing these same numbers. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and it's nuts. Australia, you'll laugh because they have a Yahweh in Australia, the rainbow serpent. But we'll talk about him in a second. I want to jump
Okay.
all over. But Slavic, he was Perun compared to Zeus, law and order, war axe to throw lightning bolts, controlled storms. His abode is the top of the mountain. Anger issues, controlled soldiers, battled against the underworld. This is the same thing uh, uh, as Yahweh. You know, the mountaintop, controlled soldiers, battled against evil, anger issues. um, when the when they were leaving out of Egypt and they were complaining about being thirsty and tired, you know, migrating through the wilderness for 40 years. Um, Yahweh sent serpents to bite them for whining and complaining about you know, being back in Egypt, and they had to create this magical staff with the serpent coiled up, and to look at it, and they were healed after that, which is magic in itself. Um, that's not normal everyday, you know, type of stuff. So yeah, we'll talk about all of that. Slavic Perun. Let's keep going. Yeah, he's okay. In China, he's Lei Gong, god of thunder and lightning, divine judge that punishes that violate law. Um, let's see, who else is he? We have Slavic. Yoruba, powerful Orisha of thunder and lightning and justice, represents storms, punishes wicked, blesses righteous, double acts, fire, destruction. Now, this is why when you go to a courtroom, you'll see a hammer, which is the mallet that bangs in, and that's the justice. That's Enlil's courtroom. You're in ancient courtroom structure of the gods, and
Okay.
that's what that mallet is that the judge bangs and tells you that's Enlil's hammer. You'll see that he has a hammer all through these civilizations as well.
Okay.
Yoruba, Olukan, ruled the ocean, sent a great wave, flood, and anger. Are we catching on yet?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
uh, Always sending a flood somewhere. Native
Totally.
American. So like even a Native American culture, like everything has been touched. Thunderbird associated with Zeus, Thor, and Lil Rajan. Giant bird big enough to lift a whale with lightning and thunder in its eyes. When it flaps its wings, thunder ignites. Protects from evil spirits. There you go again. Powerful being. punishes humans that breaks the rules, but protects who does good. That's I punish for generations, and I bless for generations. That's in the Bible. Australia has that as well. Uh, Polynesian god of war had a mace. His name was Ku, used to hold souls he killed. That's hell. Waharintia Maori, god of storms, chased brother into sea. And Anglo-Saxon Thunir, symbol is hammer, thunderbolt, weather, compared to Jupiter, Thor. Maya, Chak, rain god, wielding lightning axe associated with human sacrifice. This is the origin of Yahweh.
Okay.
So if you were in different areas of the world, it would depend on what God you worship. If you were in the desert area, uh, uh, agriculture and all this, the things for a person in that area would be important. So you would worship Yahweh or Baal or El uh, in these areas. This is why Asherah was added into Judaism. Yahweh had a wife. Did you know that, Asherah?
No, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah,
That's
man. She had a stele right next to his. So for fertility, you would offer things to her as well. Um, I don't have my notes on her, so I don't like to say anything unless I can, back it
yeah.
for sure. But yeah, so yeah, that's just a little taste of Enlil. So I don't want to stay on it too long and drag it out. Enki, he's the god of water, the trickster. His planet is Mercury. His rank number is number 40. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. Enlil's rank is number 50. He's second in control. They all had rank. We'll get into that too. So
Wow.
Enki, his rank is 40 on Earth. According to the tablets, he saved humans during the flood, which means he defied law. Enki represents the serpent, troublemaker through history and mythologies in the Bible. This is where good versus evil originates. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, so the day of rest that didn't happen to the Anunnaki came to Earth. When all of them came with Enki, 6 days they surveyed the Earth, and on the seventh day they made it a day of rest, and they made that a tradition since they got on Earth. They cataloged every living thing, plant, everything in the sea, everything in the air, and on the seventh day they made it a day of rest. So that's something that's still on it till today, as we have our day of rest on our Sabbath day.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's just take the trip around world with Enki. Vishnu in Hindu mythology, the god of preservation, the great maintainer who often appears in various incarnations to provide salvation for humanity. Here we go. Salvation, the flood. Uh, Greece, Prometheus, is sometimes referred to as the god of fire. Prometheus is best known for defying the Olympian god, stealing fire and giving it to humans in the form of tech. Prometheus was punished. So there you go again with
Interesting.
salvation and being punished for it, which is goes into today's religions. Uh,
Mm.
he was also now the Anunnaki were more than just the main top three gods in each civilization. Like as time went on and other gods begin to surface, it had their representation as well. We'll get into that. But I mainly wanted to focus on the like the holy trinity of things, so we can get on the same page first before I take people into that light, because it does get complex.
Yeah, I bet.
Japan, he's Fuji, god of the winds, brother of Raijin, which is Enlil. Controlled wind, competed with Raijin. There you go with the jealous brother again. Uh, Roman, he was in he was Pluto, king of the underworld. Although that's something that's feared, Jews and golds live in the underworld, which makes Pluto also a god of riches and prosperity, which is the same thing as wisdom. Um, that goes to the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden situation. Okay, so Slavic Sparog, blacksmith, celestial sky god of fire, heat and light, wisdom, enlightenment. There you go again. Created deity in charge of bringing being together. Sounds good. He made weapons for other gods. And in the Sumerian tablets, he sends two avatars to rescue Inanna from the underworld. So Enki was known as the tech guy in his pantheon. Enki's known for doing at least three different tricky situations in the Sumerian tablet story. So they added everything from their culture and put it into the mythologies and into our way of life. So all of the Anunnaki, they all had a piece of everyone had to get their god complex on. So everyone had a taste of a god or rulership over time. With civilizations. I'm going to do Anu really quick, and then I wanted to get into everything in today's time, and then Saturn, which is the most important. Now, King Anu, this is the king of Earth. His influence has a lot on everything in this world today. He is the most high. Remember, I told you about their ranks. He's ranked 60. No one has a number higher than him. So that's where that most high comes from. It's titles. All these gods we thought like Yahweh's a title, Zeus title, Elohim title, Shiva title. I've learned this, through out studying that there's avatars of each one of those gods I just named, which is the same thing as the Elohim. Um, 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 uh, the Islamic people have 99 names of Allah. The Hindus have the avatars of Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma, and then the Jewish you have the Elohim. The Christians have the angels, and by the way, all of the angels' names end in El. Did you
That's
know
right.
that?
Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
out, aren't they? Yeah.
So all the Elohim, that they're in every civilization in every religion, because it's like a department calling center. If you want billing, press 1. If you want you know all these different departments, press this, press that. And God doesn't need a mini division to help him out. This is showing you that these are imposters. But yeah, let's now. Saturn is Anu's planet of representation, and it's the most important planet in the system. He's known as the creator in every civilization, so he gets the highest, the best of everything, and Saturn would be it. He's also known as, father, the father in every civilization, all father. He's associated with time because he was the oldest. Don't forget, he's the father of all these Anunnaki that's here on Earth. They're his descendants. Uh, um, so yeah, let's get started into Anu. And what you'll notice also, before I do Anu's path, a quick little story from the Sumerian tablets so you can catch up to speed, because this kind of helps explain homosexuality. Okay, so in the Anunnaki story, once Anu came back to Earth, came to Earth. I believe this is the first time he came to Earth, and he saw how everything was rolling, and all the civilizations is good, and everything's built, and everything looks cool. So he's in a good mood. He's passing out rank. So everyone's on the same page because everybody's technically royalty. He's passing out rank, and he's passing out territories because this is a big problem at this point. They're having wars amongst each other. So you can find this in Deuteronomy 32, or was it verse 8? The Most High gives out the nations of Israel their inheritance by their numbers and territories. That part, they're talking about the Most High. That's King Anu. So he gives Inanna his daughter, granddaughter, his Asia. She's in Japan. She's Amaratu. Enlil gets the Mesopotamian area and all of his kids. Ningishita becomes Thoth in Egypt, and the feathered serpent in South America. And this is why the pyramids mirror each other from Egypt to South America. And they were told to duplicate that all over the place. This is why there's over 1,000 pyramids on the planet, and they're all hidden in these countries covered up in grass because it hides the truth of everything. North Africa went to the right and went to the left, and they went with the Anunnaki. And it was kind of like a mediator, so everyone would be at ease. Because how do you get the world to all do the same thing? You go into a tribe, you will be hung up and eaten for dinner. You would have to be someone with divine influence and divine power. So there's a lot of talk about this online right now too. East Africa and the ancestry, and it goes all the way up to India, from South America all the way up to North America, and they left breadcrumb trails all the way up the Amleks. Their nose is wider than mine's, and that's only for people from a hot climate. Everyone's design is perfect to the area that they're designed to. So they mirrored this tech and irrigation and all kinds of cool things to all these civilizations. But let's get to Anu's path. King Anu of Earth, the king of Earth. I have to be a little respectful. I don't want any smoke. But this is Anu's path. He's in Hindu mythology. He's Brahma. Oh, I didn't tell what happened. I've rambled so much. Alalu and Anu fight one more time. And because Alalu didn't get anything, he didn't get King of Earth as he was promised to. He handed out all the land and stuff, like in Deuteronomy 32. So he was like, "Let's fight. We're going to fight for this." So Anu was like, "Cool. I don't like you anyway. You made me your cupbearer instead of sharing, the throne with me." So he wanted to get it over with. He's his master in martial arts. So he beats Alalu again. Alalu reaches up in frustration as he's gloating over top of him and bites his privates. He bites the kings of Earth's privates. So he went through an injury that was so severe that any rich man in this world that would be surrounded by girls, once they touch your leg, you're gonna jump like a neutered dog, ashamed and bashful. And what happens is, over time, when you lose your masculinity, the femininity part takes over. So you'll see through civilizations, he goes from man to unisex to female. Okay. All right. Hindu, Brahma, part of the Hindu Trinity, great cosmic spirit, supreme self, that includes all forms, genders, and genderless. Greek, he's Uranus, sometimes written in, as Oranos, the Most High. He's also in Most High, which is Anu. Kronos took a sickle and castrated his father privately. What happened to King Anu's private?
We got bitten off.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It's gone. The Roman, he's Saturn, associated with Soin, Sidon, acquitted with Chronos. Saturn is the god of time,
Yeah.
because Saturn orbits around the sun very slowly. But let's remember that Anu is the oldest as well. So this is a lot of different representations of why he gets to claim Saturn as his planet of representation. Let's go back into this really fast. Aztec, uh, Omoteotl, creator of the universe, father of the gods, unisex god, male and woman had children. I'm not sure if I read that last part right. I may have missed wrote that last part, but we'll keep going. I have so many more. Uh, let's see. Egypt. He was Osiris. Osiris was cut up into a lot of pieces, and ISIS had to find them and put them back together. But there you go again with the something happening to him, in each civilization, or he's just the father or something like that, king of heaven. And Mayan, he was it's Amna, king of heaven, night and day, a toothless old man. So in this, he doesn't have all of his teeth. Old Norse, he's Norgeror, father of the twin deities Freyja and Freyja, by his sister wife, associated with fishing, sea, fearing, wind, wealth, crops. There you go, the agriculture again. Now he had a female self as well, compared to Norjorn, and are so confused that they didn't think that he existed. So in some pantheons, the people fought over whether their god was a woman or a man because they didn't really know, and it was really a problem in a lot of things back in the ancient times. Hittite, he was the father of the gods, Kumarabi, king of the gods. Nordic, he's Odin. Odin loses an eye in the seek of knowledge. So he's always the father. Odin's the all father in his mythology. So there you go with the father again. His high qualities was magic. Um, he was also known to do woman sorcery, so he had to learn how to do things like a woman. And Loki accused him of casting spells like a girl. He's also known to change into women and men and be with both. So there you have it with that again. Everyone has the same story. It's really like one person went around and told the same thing with just a different twist, and like everyone's just so busy with their own beliefs that no one even puts this together, and if they did, they're the part of the elite group that keep it quiet. So now this is Manitou from the Native American god, didn't have a gender and was later considered a he. So this shows you the confusion of this masculine and feminine thing, and it's because of that accident he had. That takes you're not worried about riding a bull, you're not worried about playing basketball and beating the guys. Your testosterone is gone. You've lost your whole purpose for existence in a sense. You're a neutered dog, and all your femininity is going to come out, in that duality of yourself. You want to think about how a human is born today's time. Now, when you're through your process, you have both male and female parts, and one takes over, depending on, the science of the biology of, what determines if it's going to be a boy or a girl. And then one takes over. And if not, you have both parts and you're considered an hermaphrodite. There's some people that don't even know that they have ovaries until they have to have some kind of surgery. And they let him know, like, oh, yeah, you have ovaries, mister. Like he was an hermaphrodite this whole time. So that's what the duality is. One takes over, but that doesn't mean because these guys are not gods that they, did it right. And plus, we were made in their image. So we're supposed to do the things that they did, incest and homosexuality, whatever was instilled in our stories that was okay. Um, and it's all in representation, I believe, of King Anu. You have both parts. You're a hermaphrodite. We were made purposely like this, and the twist is at the end of it. Once they saw that everything wasn't working, incest, the Egyptians, the pharaohs wasn't living long. They had to change things, and I think this is why the Abrahamic branch came in to kind of instill some changes of the past things. Plus, they were getting at the age of retirement, where they had to go back because being on our planet and being on their planet is two different things. Sometimes when you go to different planets, it changes your your uh, your structure, whether you live faster or live longer, you die faster. So it was said that once they was on this planet so long, they couldn't even really go back until they was done because they would age even faster. So they had a long time to get into stuff, and that's where all the monsters and things like that come in. But in my book, I'll explain a little bit more in detail all the different characters since before TVs existed, that were transgender, that did homosexuality and things way before the internet came. So they can't say it was influenced, that it was instilled in our gene and DNA, just no more than the worship gene. You go to a concert and watch Michael Jackson, the Beatles, some of these idols today in the entertainment world, and they're singing and they look at you or they touch your hand, you're gonna faint right there. That's the worship gene, worshiping something that's greater than you. Is the definition of a worship gene, and you can see the worship gene in action. Just meet one of your celebrity icons since you were a kid and walking up to them. That worship gene kicks in. Like these guys were so ridiculous with wanting worship. So I hope I explained a little bit about homosexuality without rushing through it. But if you understand that we were made in their image, plus their culture and their ways and their philosophies and how they look and this and that, then every aspect goes into that. And duality doesn't just mean good and evil. It means masculine and feminine. If I'm not right, then why do you have to do it in every meditation practice? You have to access your masculine and your feminine, and any one of them, including the Kabbalah. So that means that it's inside of you. This is why the kid is playing with Barbies instead of tanks and dirt bikes and army men. He's not in tune to it. His chemistry is set to the feminine part of it. It overtook the masculine side, and that person shouldn't be judged for that. That person shouldn't be made fun of for that. That person shouldn't be thrown off a roof in certain countries, not calling anyone's out, 40 feet to their death because of some ancient stuff that no one knows anything about. So yeah, hopefully I gave someone some peace with that. Because if you ask, your religious leader, they'll tell you to pray on it, like you can change how you're chemically set. Or if you ask your dad, you can get the snot beat out of you to not that way anymore. And neither one of those ways work. So at least hopefully, there's an understanding of why it exists and why it was done since the beginning of time before TV could influence people. Why were the Scythians the priests getting dressed as women and going into a tent to do their ritual? Why did they need to access their feminine trait? Why are there feminine gods all over the world that are unisex? What's going on here? Is this our little blueprint of why we deal with the problems that we deal with today? How do you get three different religions to close their prayer the same way over food, or
Yeah.
a prayer for safety, or this or that, if they're all pagan? Do you have a answer for that?
No, I don't.
No, you don't, because every god has to be acknowledged through hidden ways. It's about the hidden god. So
Okay.
Anu, Enlil, Enki. Let's take them through Judaism, Christianity, and Islam faith. Now, if everyone has to get their recognition, just like mythology, how do you do that? Okay, well, Enki, we can give him his number 40 reference. In Judaism, it rained for 40 days and 40 nights with the flood. They traveled through the wilderness for 40 years. Christianity, 40 days and 40 nights, giving up something because of what Jesus did in the wilderness.
Yeah.
There's 40 references. The Muslim faith, I forget his name. This dude traveled around the world in 40 days. They have a
Hmm.
lot of 40 references as well as as a way of living.
Yeah.
I don't have my notes on that, but that's the 40 reference is Enki's representation, and it's in all three faiths as a major big deal about 40. Um, Enlil is oh yeah, so we already discussed his beard. I mean, his hair is red. So you have in the story of the Prophet Muhammad, he has a red hair, and then when it fades out, he dyes his beard red. Now you look around the world, and everyone's walking around with Enlil representation. To this day, they are acknowledged. You're not allowed to cut your beard. If you're Jewish, you're not allowed to cut the corners of your beard. You
Hmm.
have to look like the Anunnaki gods. The Muslims don't cut their beard; they have to look like the Anunnaki gods. The Vikings, think of their big bushy beards; they have to look like the gods. Everyone in history has the beard. No one scratched their head on why is this theme so important. And that's what I just try to do. I try to point out things that are just right there in everyone's face. So yeah, now we're going to get into how everything is done. And through my studies, I've learned that fire is the most important thing um, to everyone in the world, because fire is a direct connection to the planetary uh, bodies above us in space. So this is why the menorah had 7 branches at first, and then changed to 9. So the ancients could worshipped 7 planets in ancient times, and this is the order of their importance. It was Saturn is number 1,
Hmm.
Jupiter is number 2, Mars is number 3, the Sun as number 4. Yes, that's crazy. Um, Number 5 was Venus. Number 6 was Mercury, and number 7 was the Moon, but not the full moon, the crescent moon, and we'll get into that. That all has to do with magic.
Okay.
So the menorah is a representation of the solar system. When you put 2 of them together, I'll show you the picture of that later. You get a full system. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We believe that that's just a simple thing, but it's a very important thing, because each one of those candles lit was a energy to the planets. The Saturn is also called the black sun. Do you know that, my friend Ant?
Yes, I have heard that before, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the black sun is what everyone calls it for sure, because it was the first sun that was worshipped. Once upon a time, they said it was so close that you could see a purple tint from it. So this is a cool picture of the representation of the black sun. This is from a movie called The Maze Runner. Have you seen that?
No, I've not seen that one. No.
Oh man, you got to see that. It is
Okay.
so cool. And there's so many Matrix, I mean, not Matrix, it's so many Saturn references
Okay.
because the maze that they have to run through is the shape of the black sun's pattern. And they only escape out of the seventh gate. You know, Saturn has seven rings. So
Okay.
it's all through there, the representation. His a Pepsi label. I'm not sure how your label is in the UK, but as you can see, it's a black sun. The
Yeah.
black sun is two circles inside of each other, not just one circle. And then it has the ring, and this is the radiation of Saturn uh, going out into the system. And there's the star of Saturn inside of the cap.
Ah.
Target, they have the same thing. I've seen this pattern in the audio sound music video. Have you ever seen Black Hole Sun music video?
Plenty of times. Yeah. Plenty of times.
Do you know I seen that as a kid
Yeah.
and it freaked me out. I
Yeah.
said, "What in the world is this?" And I was drawn to it.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with it, and I was like, "What?" And my cousin was like, "What are you watching? You know, like this isn't rap TV." So you know, I didn't know why. And now that I watched it the other month,
Yeah.
since I was a kid, I've seen all of my research inside that whole entire video,
Really.
which
Wow.
is yeah. So they did their homework. So here's the menorah again, like I showed you before.
Hmm.
When you put two on top of each other, you see that it's the solar system ring, and you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 planets with
Yeah.
the sun in the middle.
Yeah. Amazing that.
Yeah. So this is a little bit of architecture on different buildings in the world, and I'm going to show you why it's done the way that it's done, and show you the importance of the planetary bodies in space and why it's so important. So in this picture, I'll use the little mouse. You see the mouse going?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so this is the reason for three on everything. Of course, we already talked about the uh, the Holy Trinity. So you'll see three on the outside is always a small door. In the middle is always big because of the Most High. So this is the King's doorway or archway. This is why you'll see three. So 1, 2, and 3. Inside of here is too small to see, but I have others. You'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes to 9, representing the
Okay.
9 planets. Okay, so sacred geometry on the north pole of Saturn, there's a cube, and
That's right.
like I told you before, there's magic in shapes. So there's magic in lines. This is how demons get trapped in them. They can't get past it. So sacred geometry is any shape of the cube of Saturn, which includes the cross, the shield of David. This is
Hmm.
why the symbols are older than the religion. Uh, Judaism adopted the shield of David. Christianity adopted the cross. So that's
Hmm.
always at the top. Now, if you count the bricks right under the sacred geometry of Saturn, you'll count these to be 12. If you do the top 13, now that represents the 12 constellations. At first, there was 13 constellations, but they took it away a long time ago, and I believe it's because 12 is just an even number, and you can do magical things, and it's just easier dividing things into a balanced number than something that's imbalanced. So at first, you will see in older representations 13 constellations, and in modern times 12 constellations. Okay, so can you see the little windows at the top
Yeah.
right here where the mouse is? All right, so if you count it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the middle. That represents the 12 planetary bodies in space. The middle one is Saturn, because it's the most important. And as you can see on the side of the um, circle, the double circle, you have the rays that protrude out of the planets that radiate to us. So it's said in Hindu mythology, not Hindu mythology, in the Hindu faith, on this Sabbath day, they have to take off their shoes and walk on the grass barefoot, so they can receive Saturn's influence greater. So all week long, we walk with tennis shoes on and block our blessings from the earth bouncing it back up, or we have to take off our shoes more than one day a week, to me, so we can receive these planetary energies. In ancient times, they used to walk different paths of the planets. So if you wanted to um, get a little inspiration for love, you would walk the Venus path. If you was ready to go into battle, you would walk the Mars path, creativity, a different path. So that's how that worked. Um, uh, they had an ancient knowledge of all of the planetary systems. The planets was such a big deal in ancient times. It ruled them. As you can see, even the pyramids of Giza, the middle one is the biggest. Represents Anu's position and rank, being the biggest in the world. That's just some
Most high.
geometry. Now, on this building, you can see that it has Fibonacci's. Uh, uh,
Yeah.
he was an Italian mathematician, and he said that numbers was the code
The
of life.
sequence. Yeah.
Yeah, the sequence, and you have also these three dots right here with the arrow coming down, showing the three kings coming to Earth, bringing this knowledge. Um,
Ah.
to me, this stuff shouldn't all be on religious buildings. That's about God. You don't need that stuff. Why are the planetary representations on these buildings? Even in our presidential seal, you see the cube of Saturn inside of it. The outside, it shows the rings of Saturn's energy that protrudes out. Uh, 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 the 13 constellations inside of the leaf. The leaves are 13. The berries
Yeah.
are 13. The stripes are 13. The arrows are 13. And then the tail is 9, representing the 9 planets. So you have the planets, the constellation, and the most important planet, which is Saturn. And this is in our most important aspects of things. You can't deny that it exists.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So as you as we go all over the world, this is Istanbul. You see that this middle door is the highest, standing for the Most High, and then you have the doors on the side
I
for
see.
the
Yeah.
other members of the Holy Trinity. That's a bad picture. This one, you have the false door, but the middle door. You're supposed to go through the middle door of these buildings. It representing you going through the king's door. Small, big door, little door on the side. the Holy Trinity. It's in everything. Little, big in the middle, represents the Most High. This is all over the world. So, you don't think it's just one country that has this theme. This is their receipt that they've been everywhere. Look at the three doors in representation. How does all these places have the same architecture is beyond me. Um, the first roof, second roof, third roof. There's your three representation. As you can see in the middle, this is a four-door pane, and these are just double-door panes. So this middle door is the biggest. That represents, his rank of something big, a big door. It's all over the world. They have the planetary um, inspiration all over it. Here's another three with the false doors behind it. You have the star in the middle, the three chairs for the three kings. You have the door right here, door right here, door right here. You have the three panels right here, the three chairs right here. This represents the three kings. This is the Supreme Court. Now there's um, five of them here, but these ones have the curtain open just so the main three can be
Oh
acknowledged
yeah.
as doors. And then the clock is in the middle because Anu is the father of time, Saturn. And if you count these chairs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you have the 9 planet representation. Now you understand why the menorah went from 7 branches to 9. Not because of some Hanukkah story, because the other 2 planets, once that was acknowledged, had to be added on to the candlestick. So now you have the 3 representation on the inside, not just the outside of things. Here's Enlil's court. You have the big giant door right behind the judge, where the judge would be. You have the side doors representing the other 2 gods in their lower rank. But that's Enlil's court. That's his thing through time, chief and judge. So if you count these windows, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the middle one is 9. 9 planets. 1, 2, 3. The middle door is the biggest. So that's we're just trying to get things clear. So this isn't just coincidence. This is the design of I don't know if you can see that. That is really freaky. Do you see that lady in the window?
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. Let's pretend she's not there and just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The middle makes 12. You have the constellations. If you count these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 planetary bodies in space. Goodbye, ghost lady. You're scary. That's another thing. We'll talk about as above, so below. I'm glad the ghost lady was there because we can talk about how the veil is very thin and how they use incense to thin the veil in ancient times. But look at all these people walking around oblivious to the God representation right in front of them. This is ancient architecture, and it's right in front of our faces and under our noses. Look at the 3 windows behind the president desk.
Yeah.
The 3 panels. The bird in the middle, which is the king of Earth's bird. If you look in ancient civilization, that bird is everywhere. It's his symbol, as well as the bull. The White House with the 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So it's they've been everywhere, and you can tell they help jumpstart everyone's civilizations. It's a fingerprint. It's a breadcrumb trail. Always over the middle door, there's always some kind of representation. It's the highest rank. They expect you to walk through that middle door. That's the king of Earth's door. Look at how these look like almost like silhouettes of humans in the windows, and the middle is
Yeah.
the most biggest, of course, representing the king in his rank. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So just a little more. I want to get to this one. Okay, so this one. Let me zoom in on this one. This one is a Baptist church.
Okay.
Okay, now at the top you see 10 Commandments, and inside of the windows you'll see that there's the Shield of David's. Now in history, um, churches and religious buildings were overtaken, and new churches were built on top of it. And you would think, like, why would someone do that? That's not a good idea. That's a pagan place. Why would you put something holy on top of something pagan? So then through my studies, knock on wood, what do you do when why do we do that? Do you knock on wood when you say something bad?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay. How many times you do it? Usually one, two, three, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So three is three times the charm. Three is a magic number as well. It doesn't just represent um, things in symbolism, but it's a number of luck as well. So this is why we do things in threes.
It's a
Also, it's
universal number, isn't it? What focus? Isn't that a universal number as well? There's a universal law with three, isn't there?
Yeah. All of that. I'm just getting into the end of
Yeah.
the number things. Like I'm counting frequency waves, and it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
8, 16, 24, 32. I'm like, whoa, what the, this is math, multiplication. So yeah, it's not so three is a hack of seven, because seven is a lucky number as well. This is why in the story of Jericho, they had to walk around it 7 times. And with the Ark of the Covenant, which is an amplifier, they blew the horns, and it amplified the horns so much that it made the walls crumble into pieces. That was the first sonic wave attack in history, which is really kind of cool if you think about it. We'll talk about the Ark of the Covenant as well. But back to knocking on wood. So when you knock on wood, you're taking something bad you said and you put it into a wood object. Wood is an easy conductor for energy. This is why magic wands are made of wood. This is why staffs are made of wood. So in the Bible, they have a story of the scapegoat, where the in the Old Testament they had two goats, and one of them was killed and sacrificed. The other one was everyone placed their hands on it, and they put their sins inside of the goat, and they sent the goat away. They didn't kill it. They needed the goat to get far away from town as possible. So that's what you call the scapegoat. That's where the expression scapegoat comes from. So you can place your energy into things. So this is why voodoo, you need someone's comb, you need someone's toothbrush, you need someone's object that has their energy inside of it. You're not supposed to step in a dead man's shoes. You may walk his path. Your energy is left into objects. So this is the reason why they took over pagan places, um, because the energy was still left in there. And that's the magic of the feeling you get when you go there, all that stored up in those wooden benches and those wooden posts that everyone touches and jumps up
Yeah.
and down. And you like, oh, the Holy Ghost. And it's just, thousands and thousands of people's energy, and the knock on wood, is the perfect way to describe the energy that's felt in a religious building, because you can put your energy inside of objects. So this is the key to take over another religious place and not get a fresh new one and make it holy, because you can tap into what's already there.
It's interesting as well that they used Hollywood as well, didn't they?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
cast the spells there, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. Now there's magic in that too. There's
Oh
magic
yeah.
in water and oil and rituals. When you do a prayer, you're doing a spell. When you do a religious holiday, you're doing a ritual. This
Mm.
is magic. And so when you indict yourself into a organization, you really better stick to the rules, because if you sin, which we all are made of sin, that is
Mm.
correct. They instilled all these different aspects in us. So when you sin and you just took a baptism, or you just, did your shahad, forgive me if I said that right, or whatever you've done, devoting yourself to this fraternity, you just screwed yourself, my friend, because it's magic. We'll get into how words work in a second. I'm just going to run through these a little more, and then we can get to the nitty gritty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Mm.
That makes 9 planetary bodies in space. You have the hexagram of Saturn right in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right in our face.
Yeah.
So Saturn's in the middle, and then you have the 3 kings right under it.
Oh yeah.
Anu in the middle, Enlil, Enki, the 3 kings of Earth. And it's in our buildings. This the story. This one has 13. This one's older representation, the 13 constellations. Um, 1, 2, 3. The religious symbol in the middle. This is the creator. Anu's the king of Earth. He's taken the creator uh, uh, position. And if you can see in this picture that there's a god in the middle of this door. It's expected for us to walk through the middle of these doors of
Mm.
representation of our Anunnaki friends. Oh, that's I don't know if you're a Matrix fan,
Yeah, I
but
love
they
it.
had the. Oh, you love it?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Oh man, wait till I tell you. Okay, so in Matrix One, of course, Neo gets shot and he dies. And
Mm-hmm.
then when he wakes up, he can see everything.
Yeah.
This is one of the secrets of the ancients. And you can check this guy, Dr. Aman, out. He's a Greek freak. He translates ancient Greek. And he claims that um, snake venom from Africa was put on this gauze and wrapped around your body with cuts, and you would get so freaking blitzed that your third eye would open and you would come close to death. And then when
Wow.
you came out of it with the antidote, you were awakened. So everyone that has gone through something that dies and comes back, their third eye is fully open. But so that explains the part one. Part two, he actually goes to Saturn. I'll tell you that one in a separate one. This is three, where he meets Deus Ex.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Deus Ex is the Nordic version of Saturn. I hope I have him next. So let's take a photographic memory
Yeah.
that these spikes are here.
Yeah.
Um, the round interior, and that it shoots out razor droids out of its mouth. That's the secret of life. This is all the sacred geometry that
Yeah.
is involved in religions. Um, all the black. Now, magic and colors. Why does everyone wear black? These are Greek Orthodox. Why does everyone wear black?
Yeah. I have no idea.
Hindu, Jewish. Like I told you in the beginning, there's magic in shapes, there's magic in colors, there's magic in words. You got to be careful what you say. There's,
Hmm.
I think I did words, letters, shapes, and colors. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and colors and representation for black. Black is not only the color for Saturn
Hmm.
in representation, black has a magical purpose as well. So light travels, to the ends of the universe, and light is attracted to everything, is drawn to everything. So when light is attracted to black and is absorbed by it. So this is why everyone wears black in these religious faiths, because it draws the power of Saturn to them, and not just Saturn, but all the planetary bodies. It draws those energy rays to you directly.
Interesting.
Now, this is the I've learned about Adolf Hitler. Once I found out that he was saved by dream magic, I had to go all in,
Hmm.
and I've found out that he sacrificed two sheep on every winter solstice. Now, when you Google winter solstice, Saturn is the closest to Earth on the winter solstice. So he found out that the ancient, worship the planets, and that the benefits of it, the source of all magic, and he actually, was doing some crazy things, and became, powerful at one point with things, everyone couldn't keep up with. But this symbol on the flag does not mean hate.
No.
This symbol is just like the Jewish star, just like the cross. It's older than Adolf Hitler. It's the black sun. It's the symbol for the black sun. Um, Here again, Saturn at the top, Jupiter, Mars, the sun, Venus, Mercury, the moon, and uh, in the beginning of the solar system forming, Jupiter was running like a madman. Uh, he almost took Mars and Earth and made it a moon damn near. This guy is nuts, Jupiter. And Saturn got into a tug of war with it. And they say they don't know why Jupiter's core is bent. And I really believe that Saturn put on the Thanos glove and really put Jupiter in its place in the beginning and kept it there. Jupiter is so amazing that it keeps all the asteroids and all the heavy things that would be a problem for us to exist out of the way. If you see it go around and the system, it drags everything with it. It is nuts.
Wow.
95 moons. It has black rings. It's a monster.
Yeah.
It is a monster. But yeah, here's a old painting of Saturn. Do you see the two guys right here?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's almost like the wheels turning, the antlers, and then it comes down to life itself.
Ah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the black sun. It's the most worshipful. We'll get back to that. Um, this is Shemesh's symbol for Saturn. It's actually a frequency of
That's it.
3,835 hertz. So I've able to get an exact frequency to Saturn itself. I'm not playing with this thing. I'm going to request, once I'm done this book, I'm going to request a few things with
Mm.
my staff in hand. This is a Buddhist coin. One, two, three, four. Stupid mouse. Five, six, seven, eight, nine, the middle. As you can see, the planetary bodies is over the top. This is the planets is in everyone's faith. This is more of my ritual carvings. I'll get into that. That's a whole nother story. So all over the world, this is called a Z rod, and the Zebra is an interceptor. So these two are planets right here, and they intercepted the energies to create magic. To harness the magic to create things. This is some weird shape dog creature. You see the long snout. You know, they have skills in drawings and chiseling things. These things are dramatically exactly what they were. Which are monsters, and inside you have the planetary bodies, showing you how everything was done. They did it. They created monsters. They created giants. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever Googled what weight puts women in at risk during birth? How heavy can a baby be?
No, I've never looked at that. No.
I know, you know why? Because we're generational good boys. That's why you've never looked at it. If you Google it, it says 9 to 10 pounds puts a woman and a baby at risk of death.
Okay.
Now, I want you to remember who was blamed for the giants that came onto this earth. Who was that were blamed for the giants? Women was blamed for giants, uh, for sleeping with the angels
Oh,
that
with
came
the
down
net,
to earth.
yeah, with the Nephilim.
Right. Now, how do you push out a giant if
Mm,
modern women today would die with a 9 and 10 pound baby in their stomach?
yeah, it's not going to happen, is it?
How does someone give birth to a giant?
Well, it doesn't seem possible.
A giant, let's just, I mean, a giant would be like, what, 15 pounds,
Hmm.
20 pounds in the stomach?
Yeah, it doesn't seem physically possible, does it?
No, we never questioned why it took God a while to figure out that they took a bite of the fruit and they realized that naked. This isn't the all-seeing, all-knowing God we're talking about. He had to figure it out. You go home and your kid is standing near the cookie jar looking crazy, and you're like, "What's wrong with you?" And you know, they look dumb, and you're like, "Man, say up to something." You see that top isn't twisted on all the way like you left it, and you're like, "Oh, okay." You know, we're not fully gods. We have to figure things out, and you know, the Garden of Eden is a perfect example of how this person in this story isn't an all-seeing, all-knowing God. Here's the Jewish star, and inside, do you see that little tiny circle?
Yeah.
And you see the waves that pushes out
Yeah.
the energies that come off of the planet, that goes off, and um, Saturn radiates twice as much energy than it received from the sun. I'll say it again. Saturn radiates twice as much energy than it received from the sun. The sun is number 4 on the countdown, my friend, because it's not as important as Saturn. Saturn
Wow.
is the, and this is why the Jewish people had to adopt this symbol. This is why the Christians had to adopt the cross. And it's not
Mm.
about someone dying on that. They had to. They sat in a room and put all these books together, and even the Book of Solomon has demons in the story that are from mythologies. So this is what happens when you read every single story on Earth. You realize the pattern, and then there's nothing that gets past you. It's like, oh my goodness, this whole thing is staged. Oh, here we go. Akhenaten and my boy. Learning that Moses was one of my favorites growing up, and learning the real Moses is exciting. So um, these represent the planets in space.
Hmm.
It's not all of them in this papyrus, but just ones that he used to access this. And these are the incantations it takes to get to it. Now, this is an important picture. I want to zoom in a little bit. Hope my mouse doesn't act all crazy. All right, so again, the black sun is something that's circled twice too. The serpent circles around uh, the sun. So this is the black sun. Now, as you can tell, there is no sun that has hands as rays. These rays have hands,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Now, they're in a holding formation. Saturn has a hold on everything. It's the reason why we have physical appearance and matter. The serpent represents wisdom. Don't let anyone teach you anything else other than the serpent means wisdom. How do we know this? Okay, let's take it slow. The Ankh is presented by Saturn at his forehead, at his third eye. He has access because his third eye is open. Why? Because he has the serpent on his head. This lady right here behind him, as well as you notice, he's represented as the Most High. He's really tall,
Yeah.
which means he's a god. Now, this is a no-no, by the way. But anyway, the Ankh is at her head, at her third eye as well, which means that she's granted access to Saturn. And at the bottom, this young gentleman right here has to hold the Ankh. What's missing with him?
There's no
He
third
doesn't
eye
have the
on.
serpent
No.
on the top of his head, which means his third eye is not open, which means he has to hold the key to access Saturn's gifts. Look at them harnessing the energy of Saturn for magic.
Mm.
Look how it touches his arm and has a hold on everything. It's the reason for everything. These kids don't have the snake on their head. They get no access.
No. Interesting.
You have to know the words. The Ankh is at his mouth to open up these gold little tablets at the top. These are planets, our planets in our solar system. And this is the one my student woke me up with. This one makes 10. And I never counted it because I just did the top. I'm like, holy smokes, you're ruining everything. So they had, as you can see, it has the Ankh. So this is the topic of Nibiru popping back up. This is your 10th planet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Wow.
So yeah, let's go back to the hands. It's holding everything. It has a hold on everything that's here. The little kid is telling her, Nefertiri, speak the words. The Ankh is at her mouth, waiting for her to get access to Saturn. On this chair right here is an Anunnaki representation. It represents the north and the south of Egypt joining. And the Sumerian tablets on their planet, they had to coexist by the north and the south joining. And the north gave a son to the south for their daughter, and the south gave a daughter to the north, and then through their union and procreation ensured peace. So the Anunnaki is in all of in everything. But yeah, these are the gates that you would have to call out the planets, all of them, to access the power of the black sun. There's the Nordic version of the black sun
Yeah.
again. And now this is the one that was in Maze Runner, by the way. But now you see where that Nazi symbol originated from.
Yeah.
It doesn't belong to them. This is the black sun, and you see the radiation. This is the stuff that's in all of your products. That's in advertising today. That if your eye is not open, it'll slip right over you. That's why I showed you the
Pepsi.
Pepsi bottle and the Target bag, and you see the energies leaving the black sun. And there's lots of them like that that people buy every day. The elite know these planets' purposes, and they know that Saturn is Trump. Um, so they sneak it in our movies and our products,
Yeah.
and it's right in our face. This is Shemesh. Shemesh is an awesome dude. Um, this picture shows the moon and this one right here, and Saturn. There's a connector. Right. Oh, hold on a second. Let me count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry. This is Venus. It shows a connector between it. You see that little Mario World tube?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay, so the energies. Remember that tug of war that happened in the beginning with Jupiter and Saturn. The planets have, a little tug of war thing. They intercept that, just like that Z-Rod in Ireland. They intercept it. And it comes down to Earth. Now he has his magic staff in his hand, Shemesh. He's speaking into this little object right here. He's saying the words, just like the Egyptian Nefertiti having to say the words. Also, you see the cone-shaped hat, all wizards wear. I believe it's like an antenna. This is why all the ancient kings and stuff had those big crowns to reach the signals from above. Here's more of the Jewish so-called star in everyone's face because it's the star of Saturn. You need a diagram of Saturn to reach Saturn. That's Shemesh's star. That's in the Matrix 3 as well. I'll show you that. So this is a carving from Egypt. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm sorry, this thing is moving crazy. But 4 and 4 is 8. One more is 9. So there's your 9 planets. There's the rays of Saturn coming down. They call this Osiris's backbone, but to me it looks like an electric coil. So they use the rays of Saturn for not just making monsters like this giant sea thing right here over water, but for technology as well to work. Look at this gigantic bird thing. It looks like an owl until you look in the face. And it's not an owl because look at the comparison of the full-grown woman next to the scale of this owl. We'll just call it an owl. And she's doing a prayer incantation. You got a staff right here. She's getting enchanted. There's your 3 representation for the 3 kings. And there's the energy that's coming down from Saturn to make this magical stuff work. That's what I'm telling you. This giant stuff is crap. They made all kinds of. They were here for a very long time, and I'm sure was very bored. And the giants is one of the things that they created, and I believe it was for some of the marvels of ancient times that were like, how did they move this gigantic brick? This is impossible. I think they wanted to make something so grand that it couldn't be duplicated. So they had to cheat and, use all kinds, like the King of Solomon describes demons building a place.
Yeah.
This one is really awesome. This one is Akhenaten. As you can see, he's breathing the breath of life inside of this baby. His cheeks are blown up like he's blowing air. And this kid right here is like, yo, check this out. Look at it pointing. And then over here, the kid's telling her to say those words. That's why the Ankh is at her mouth and at her third eye. This is the source of all magic. Now, you've seen the Matrix 3 countless times. Before he goes to see... No, I'm sorry, not Matrix 3. Matrix 2 countless times. Before he goes to see the architect, he has to have the key maker give him the key. You see the key under Saturn? He had to give the key maker had to give him the key. Then he opens the door and he warps straight to the architect that has TVs of everything. It represents him going to Saturn. It shows us the shot right before he's in space, and then it zooms out far away, which means he went to Saturn, and then he phases inside with the architect. Man, that they really did the Matrix awesome.
Yeah.
The secret messages inside of it is crazy. But Neo needed the key maker. Is the key to access Saturn. So when your third eye is open, and you deserve, audience. This is what you get. You don't have to hold the key. It's already access is granted.
Wow.
This is a cool picture. I'm going to read a passage from the Book of Solomon really quick. This describes the purpose of the menorah as well. Um, so Solomon, wanted to know all the wisdom from these demons. He asks Beelzebub about heaven. Beelzebub gave him a spell. Now listen to this. If you burn gum, incense, with nard and saffron, and light the 7 lamps during an earthquake, you shall firmly build your house. Being pure of light, being pure, if you light the 7 lamps, the menorah, at dawn, when the sun rises, then you will see the heavenly dragons and how they wind themselves along and drag the chariot of the sun. So basically, they just told you that dawn is the best time for magic to even work, which is really cool. This is the reason of the morning star importance. So if you look in this picture, you see that it has uh, incense, little different uh, ingredients like in the spell. It has the 7 lamps, and it has the dragon that's described flying over the heavens. I don't know if that's a good shot because it is really it's kind of like broken.
Yeah.
But if there's a dragon's head right here, and then it winds, has that infinity symbol almost. There's a
Okay.
chariot, and there's the tail, and you can see the cloud right there. So this was from the this goes to show you that the menorah is made for magical purposes. I was a kid and couldn't wait to light that thing, and I don't really think kids should really play with it.
Yeah.
Maybe it should be for the big people. This Hanukkah, kind of wish for something really cool. Um, but yeah, Shemesh, the middle candlestick in the 9 candle holder is called the Shemesh, just like
Okay.
Shemesh I introduced you to from Babylon. And the
Yeah.
rule is with the Shemesh is that it has to stay lit at all times. Oh, now I know why, because the middle one represents the sun. Um, so the menorah is literally a solar system representation, and when you light them, it's a hack to access the planetary energies and the gifts that you get from them. This goes all the way back to Babylon, and as you know, our whole Bible was made from Babylon, Akkadian, Hittite, Persian,
Yeah.
Egyptian, Greek, Roman. I know I missed something in there, but it has all of those different influences all inside the Bible. The Inanna Ishtar's code, the Ishtar code. That's 1,000 years before the code of Hammurabi, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. It
Yeah.
says, "Thou shalt not bear false witness." That comes from the code of Ishtar. How did that make it as the 10 Commandments from Yahweh's mouth to stone?
I'm not sure.
Exactly, because the Bible is nothing but stories of everybody else's stories.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you research ancient times, you'll see that as you read it. Like everything from the Noah's Ark to the Garden of Eden is all in the Sumerian tablets. The Day of Rest, the Sumerian tablets. Um, you know, there are now. I do want to say that the Bible is important because you have a lot of YouTubers right now pointing out how the Bible is fake.
Okay,
And
I've not
that,
seen that.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. If you watch if you check out Gnostic Informant
Oh,
and people like him,
yeah.
Gnostic Informant, he's very knowledgeable in ancient Greek, ancient Mediterranean, ancient, and he's had people on his show, and they always butt heads because there's no sign of an exodus. There's no flower pots in the sand. There's no sign of someone traveling for 40 years through a wilderness. Um, Not to mention Sargon of Akkadian. When he was a baby, he was placed into a, a basket
A
and
basket.
sent up the Nile. And he was found by, some workers of a rich family. And he became a king. This is Moses's story of being in a basket and being found and being, next to the king's throne. He would have got everything he wanted if he played along, but he chose a different path. But this is the same story. Um, King's not King's Samson and Delilah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very important story. Samson lost his strength once his hair was cut.
Yeah.
Now, there's two things to learn from this, which is trying to be, portrayed, which is not to let a woman, rule your existence and stand your ground, and then two, that there's power in here. So in World War One, the Native Americans helped the American army, and they were scouts for them because that's what they're known great for, scouting and things of the land. So they cut all of their hair off so they can
That's
look
right.
like American soldiers. And as time goes on, and there's no progress. What's going on? The Native Americans said, "Bro, you cut our hair. We could hear a deer move from 100 yards away. We could, all of our power is in our hair." And then
Mm-hmm.
I think of the expression, "So scared the hair stood up off my back." You heard of that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. These old sayings have power and have a purpose. So that explains how there's some things in the Bible that have purpose, even though if you can prove that it's stolen stories, that some of these characters aren't real because this comes from Babylon or Hittite. There it is still kind of like a guide book of the things you should learn from,
Yeah.
so the same mistakes aren't repeated.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. It's like a book of mastery, isn't it?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I agree. So there is power in the word of religion. Now, we have Moloch here. Have you heard of Moloch?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Now everyone thinks he's a god, but he's not. He's a tool.
Right. Okay.
Now, how do we know he's a tool? Because I just explained to everyone how it works, how fire works. Let's count this. You got to count everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7, just like the 7-branch menorah. So each child that was sacrificed in that oven didn't go to Moloch. It went to a planetary body in space for power, just
Right.
like the menorah. This is why you see the 7 doors on the front of the of Moloch.
Right. I get you.
Got me?
Yeah.
So yeah, again, that's just a little bit of that. That's a Foo Fighter. That's the whole reason I went into ancient studies anyway, once I got to a brick wall with World War II and how, these things broke the laws of uh, physics, going in and out the water, breaking speeds and into space back to Earth, and zipping and turning off planes, turning them back on. We got our butt handed to us in World War II. They just showed us that, we're so still behind. Um, and that's my whole purpose, kind of like trying to get everyone on the same page. I want kids in school year round. Let's stop feeding them Santa Claus, Easter Bunny. They can learn two like foreign languages at once they're between the ages of like 3 and 8, I believe. There's a
Absolutely.
special school, so like, we can push them to their full potential. Physics, quantum physics, math, magic, and really, make our next generation so advanced that we kind of push the scale a little bit in our progress. Any object that comes into the system puts Earth at risk. I wanted to a point where if we're ruling our system, once we get in front of Saturn, forget it. Everyone's Superman. Number one. Number two, there's other, according to the Hindus, there's over 400,000 species of aliens. So there's different ones that use our sun as a gas station to charge their ship. I want taxes put on their ass. No, sir, you will not diffuse my sun faster a little bit than it needs to be. I want colonies started on different planets, and they'll burn Chick-fil-A and sacrifice to us to honor the gods. I mean, like, we can move on to so much greener and better things and ensure our future and survival, because at any time this planet can be wiped, and we have to start all over again. So us advancing is the only important thing, and I think that's why I was woken up a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I will explain all the creepy weird stuff. This is the Matrix 3, when Smith is defeated at the end. You see the star glow. Anybody else would miss it, but that's the star of Shemesh that I showed you, the frequency of 3,835. So they're showing you that Saturn is the reason why Smith was defeated. That's what Deus Ex was. That Nordic description of him that I showed you, the Nordics, the Black Sun. Yeah, I'm gonna do a video on that, so I could do a side by side. But yeah, this guy, they took their whole story from the Nordic ancient belief of Saturn. So according to the Hindus, let's talk about Saturn now. Let's get down to how everything works. So when I was a kid, I believe Saturn interfered with me. I opened the book, and there was no words in the book when I was a kid. It was almost bedtime, and I wanted to read a book before bedtime. So I was like, "What in the world?" Flipping the pages, and then suddenly my mom comes from out of nowhere. And she says, "What's wrong?" Not that I said anything is wrong. And I'm like, there's no pages in this book. And she says, "You're just tired. Just go to bed." So I said, "Okay, all right, I'll go to bed." So I'm a kid. I listen. I went to bed. Next morning, I jumped straight up, go to the book. Everything's there in the book. So I asked my mom, what was that about? She has no recollection of what I'm talking about. From a child to this day, like, that wasn't something that could be erased out of my head as a normal situation. So I'm going to explain my path, which made me dig harder than anybody else. So that was that. In middle school, I was late for school, and I went to school. You had to go in the back door, not the front once you're late. So I'm walking up the back side path, and I look up. I see a black triangle ship, the size of a football field now, and I'm an adult. And
Wow.
I was paralyzed, like not physically paralyzed, but just I couldn't move. I was wowed by it because I'm trying to. The stealth fighter was my favorite jet because it was all black and it was triangle. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to piece together, was that what I was seeing? But this thing is sitting still, and I'm like, what in the world? And suddenly a voice comes in my head, a woman's voice, not my voice, saying just go inside. A woman voice comes in my head and says, hurry, go inside, um, go now. So I listened. I ran to the front door. Thank God it was open. Went inside. Class was already going. I kept quiet. I don't remember saying anything about it. But, you know, fast forward time, I find out in Zimbabwe that a ship was over school and landed and talked to the kids telepathically. And this is such a big deal that tourists go there and everyone has the same story, adults and kids. So I'm like, oh wow. So that was another thing. Um, I'm going to go in order. Uh, August the 28th. Um, my mother insisted I go to the World Trade Center, and I'm no tourist. I'm
Hmm.
like, no, I don't want to go. That's for tourists. You know, I'm not doing it. So, she talks me into it. I'm glad I went. So you go in through the basement, the subway. You see the newsstands, there's restaurants, as busy as ever. Then you go up into the elevator of the World Trade Center,
Hmm.
and there's an elevator person. It takes you all the way to the top. You
Hmm.
see. It was so many nice people there, by the way. Everybody was so nice and friendly. Then you see at the top, you see the whole city,
Yeah.
and
I,
for
I was
some
up.
reason, I
I've been
had
up
this
there.
eerie, weird feeling like I wanted to get back down. It's not because of heights,
Okay.
because I want to skydive. So I knew it wasn't that. And then I envisioned like a plane being like this being so high that a plane could hit this building. And I was like, Ma, all right, we did the little tourist thing. Let's go. 13 days later, 9/11 happened. And it
Wow.
scared my girlfriend so bad at the time. She was shaking for days. And
Wow.
she ran down to see me. And I mean, that was so freaky. It was close. So that was another weird thing that happened to me in my life. Being somewhere where a mass death
Hmm.
happens, and you were just there is something just like weird and freaky. Let me explain to you my dream. I was going to be a cop because I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. I'm the only kid. My mom's like, no, I want to be a warrior. I want to help people. So I'm like, I'll be a cop. I passed the test. I
Hmm.
did the body drag, the gun familiarization test, the psych test, the run around the city hall within a time limit. I'm on my way to a police academy. I want to jump out of a plane. There's nothing that scares me. So
Yeah.
I have a dream going into this house with police officers. I kick in the door of a house, and as soon as I kick in the door, I get shot with a shotgun and fly off the porch. And when I wake up, I am bouncing not shaking in my bed. I
Hmm.
am bouncing in my bed. And I'm like, oh my God, like as if I was off of the bed and I, fell down, like levitated. It was so scary that I called the police academy and quit that
Wow.
morning. So I'm like,
Powerful.
everything is everything that I've been through was for a reason. So dream magic was used on me to you could either be persuaded by dream magic, or it could send you off your course. So this is Hitler being saved by dream magic. Shows that some things are set in stone to happen, or influenced to happen for a greater scheme. If you noticed, the the Africans that came to America that were Israelite, and the Jews in Germany faced the same, not the same exact atrocities, but it mirrors. The Underground Railroad was successful for black slaves because they were on white home properties. The hiding of Jews in Germany was successful because it was in German homes.
Mm-hmm.
So here's two separate people that worship the same God and went through the same similarities. I promise you, there's a yin and yang to everything, a balance. So even when evil is trying to dominate, there's a balance of good set that's blocks in a way. If you look at Martin Luther King's, I have a dream speech pictures. It's salt and pepper in the audience. A lot of European faces. The Million Man March, the same. Black Lives Matter movement, the same. In windows of homes, like like there will always be a fight for the end of tyranny. So yeah, that is interesting subject. So that oh yeah, so I did the dream magic. Okay, so yeah, so I didn't do that. So I ended up doing like jobs like detailing cars for car dealerships. I would do the whole lot, and like my whole thing was to see every speck and every detail of everything that needed to be touched. Nothing would be left undone. I used to work for a school doing school let out for janitorial, so they used to come with a white glove and inspect everything high and low. So my mind has been trained to inspect things. So when I went through civilizations, and like everything in my path, even my breakup, I went. My ex had corona, and I didn't care. This was a messy time in our life where she left me and was coming back because I had the kids. So she would always come, back, and when she got sick, I didn't care. No mask, no nothing. Like, this is it for you. It's it for me. This is so I doctored her up. I got her better, and she promised to do something, and disappeared on me while I was sick. After I got her together, and so that heartbreak, and then on my 12th, 13th day, I think the 12th day, I felt that corona was full blast, and I felt nothing left inside of my body, no heartbeat, no organs. I was like, you know what? I'm going to pay her back. I am letting go. She's going to regret this the rest of her life. And then I got a flash of, as I'm drifting off, I get a flash of my kids, and I'm like, oh no, what about them? Who's going to be there for them? And I came back, and that's the example that everyone in ancient times, like I've said, tried to achieve, is to die and come back. So my eye was fully open after that. Then I got into my research, and that's what it sometimes it takes death to come back, and you're able to see everything, just like in the Matrix. That movie is so awesome for so many different reasons. So my whole life has been programmed. Even me going through heartbreak, and losing everything, which is like the key to the soul trap and breaking it. Because I heard you and your other guests talk about the soul trap, and it's not about just meditation. No, 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 no. I just showed you the snake on the head. It's about enlightenment. It's about wisdom. You have to receive a certain amount of wisdom and acknowledge that everything that's around you and see it for what it is. There is nothing left for you to learn. You have done it. You have achieved it, and you have mastered it. I do not go into the white light when it comes for me, which is part of the magical process. It's nothing but a containment center. I'm going to see someone that I know, because I know God is the gods of earth are false, so they're not going to send him. Uh, they'll send a family member. Someone that will comfort me as my mother comforted me when that book was empty.
Yeah.
And um, it's false. This one lady came back from her near-death experience, and she's, oh, I saw JC, I saw Jesus. I said, oh, wonderful. Let's get this situated, because we know the description in the Bible says woolly hair and brass skin. Let's see what she says. And his name is Yeshua, not Jesus. Let's see what she says. She gives the Google dictionary definition. Up. Thank you. That's exactly what I needed. So it's all of what you expect to see, as your guest said, is what you expect to see. The blonde hair and blue eyes. That's what's going to be there to comfort you in your time to move on, because it's a shocking process.
Yeah.
So that has to comfort you. Sometimes you come straight back. Sometimes you stay. I believe during reading all of the world's mythology that reincarnation does exist. In Australia, you have to be good as an animal, and then your reward is to come back as a human. So if you're a bear and you're just, a reckless, cruel creature just killing things for no reason, not to eat, because animals have personalities too.
Absolutely.
When it's time for reincarnation, there's something you're gonna have to learn, Mr. Bear. You didn't live your life the right way. So now I'm really funny with animals and any kind of mistreatment, because now I know their souls. And the ancients used animals for sacrifices for Saturn, to gain power. And I'm here to tell everyone, what the elite do today with someone dies and then they get all this power. You don't have to do these things, even if it's a person or an animal. It's a soul, and when you trade power for a soul, no matter if it's a baby duck or a human being, you're dealing in the dark path, and you'll pay for it.
Yeah.
The key is goodwill, and everyone's beliefs all over the world. The Hindus even have to do charity on this Sabbath day. Everything is about goodwill. Once you do the goodwill part, you are, you're okay. I would like to get into some of the numbers that are repeated, the 7, 3, and 12. And then you can see also, as you read these mythologies, you'll see these same numbers over and over again. You're like, what's the deal with this? And it's because they put their aspects not just into humans, but into our stories. And this is why it's important to memorize and know the Sumerian tablets, the Anunnaki story, like the back of your hand. All right, so here's some of the threes that I've ran into just going through civilizations. Africa, Central Africa, Boomba picks up man. He has three sons. Norse, Three gods, three brothers kills giants and created land. China, Jade Emperor, Lord of Heaven, sent three emperors to rule over them all. Korea, top three gods control wind, cloud, and rain. Dogon tribe has three funeral rituals. Orion's belt, three stars, three kings. Japan, three fingers was on Raijin, past, present, and future. Korea, three heavily heirlooms. The story of Ashab al-Kar, Roman emperor, gave the rebels 3 days to go back to their old faith. Hecate, the three-headed witch. Three laws of motion, third element. The Emerald Tablet is in codes of three. Jesus was in a tomb for 3 days. Jesus died at 33 years old. The water separated from the earth in 3 days. Jonah was in a whale's mouth for 3 days. It took 33 gods to defeat Rajan and Fujin when they stood against Buddha. Prophet Muhammad invaded a town and conquered it. The survivors couldn't convert for 3 days. The 3 days was spent on looting. Shiva holds a trident that has 3 points, three fundamental powers, the three saints of the West. When Moses' mother saw that she was pregnant, she had him for months until she couldn't hide him. No, I'm sorry. She hid him for 3 months. So she was pregnant for 3 months until she couldn't hide him no longer. Enoch had 3 sons. Adam lived for 930 years and buried in a cave. Gabriel in the Islamic Quran, Gabriel couldn't enter Muhammad's house because of 3 things that was pagan, which was the curtains with symbols, a dog that I believe was the dog from the King of Solomon. That's a whole nother story. Rabbitohs, I believe. And let's see. So that's just a taste of the 3. 12, of course, the 12 constellations, 12 titans of Gia, 12 stationed at Mount Olympus at all times, the 12 tribes of Israel, 12 months of the year. New Jerusalem, described in the Bible, has 12 doors with 3 on each side. The 12 federations of Hawan-Dan, 12 disciples and apostles. Yaldabaoth from the Archons creates 12 authorities. The mysterious council of 12. So there's a little bit of 12. 7. There's a lot of 7s as well. Buddha was born. He took 7 steps. Now, that's the beginning of the Buddhist story. So I was like, oh, wow, Anunnaki, as soon as I read the first sentence.
Yeah.
The 7, 7 days of rest. The 7 sisters, which is in the Greek story. Have you heard of the 7 sisters, the Pleiades?
No, I've not heard
In
that
Greek
one.
mythology, there's the 7 sisters. In Australian mythology, there's the 7 sisters that turn into stars. In King Solomon, there's the 7 sisters of darkness. Like, when you read a favorite novel, when you read your favorite author's novels, after a while, reading all of his work, you see a pattern. So even if the cover of the book is off and you can't see the name of the book and who wrote it, and you start reading the story, you say, oh, this is Stephen King. You know the work. And I think they purposely left breadcrumb trails so everyone could figure this stuff out. We're made of magic, and I try to explain that to people because everyone's so funny about magic. And it's nothing wrong with it. Uh, Even in the stories, Moses and Jesus was portrayed of doing magic. Um, Jesus spit into clay, matted it together, saying an incantation, and placed it on a blind man's eyes, and cured him of his blindness. In the Solomon story, the wind demon came into his court. uh, his wind was scaring, everyone in his courtroom, Solomon's courtroom. Solomon had no fear. He spit in the place the demon was in and used his star of Saturn ring that Yahweh gave him and sealed him in place. So that's two different spit acts of many in ancient times. Spit comes from the root of your body. It comes from the inside of you. Um, Girls, uh, they have a way of doing a magic spell. Have you heard of how girls do magic?
Go on, enlighten me.
Okay, I got you, my brother. So I was always taught by the elders not to eat a woman's spaghetti, and I was always curious of that, but too young to know the full detail. As an adult, I find out why we shouldn't eat spaghetti. So a woman's fluids are very magical. Her menstrual blood, for instance, if it's mixed into a man's food and he eats it, he falls in love with her.
Oh, interesting.
Uh, yes. So this was the warning of staying away from, spaghetti because I'm sure that would blend in perfectly. Um, do you know who Lana Del Rey is?
Yeah.
Oh, she's my baby. So she practices witchcraft. She has a song called Cherry. Have you heard of Cherry?
No.
Okay, so I believe the chorus goes, "Darling, darling, darling." She says it 3 times. I fall to pieces whenever I'm with you. I fall to pieces. Uh, my cherries, my cherries and wine, rosemary and thyme. My cherries is her menstrual blood inside of wine with um, other ingredients, and she explains in the song how it doesn't work cussing throughout the song. You have to hear. If you're a Lana Del Rey fan, Cherry is one of her best songs, so you
Okay.
definitely need to check that. It's a magic spell
Okay.
inside of a song. It's really cool. So back to the girl's fluids. Yeah, if you eat this girl's food, you fall in love with her. Now, I don't suggest women run off to, start doing it because there's consequences with things. You don't use magic on someone against
No.
their own will.
No.
You're supposed to. So this things can backfire. This person can be not good for you, but drawn to you so bad that that's the only thing he wants to deal with, and you got a psycho on your hands the rest of your life, wishing that you can break that spell.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Dr. Amon talks about a woman's ejaculation fluids, orgasm fluids, how they would pour it in a chalice and drink it, and it would open the third eye.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. Freaking nuts. Freaking
Yeah.
nuts. Um, here's the picture I wanted to show you of Saturn, the North version of Saturn. And I told you to remember Deus Ex had the spikes, right, on the outside.
Yeah.
And I told you to remember that it had the razor droids in the inside.
That's right. Yeah.
And this is the inspiration for Deus Ex in the Matrix 3.
Interesting.
Outside spikes, inside razor sharp turbines. It's Saturn that he talks to. That's why when he sees it, it shines like the sun in his vision.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
brother, I'm sharp. I am
Yeah.
sharp. These are the planets underneath it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 in the middle. At the bottom of this picture, it shows people underneath grabbing the energies of Saturn. Saturn is the biggest deal. It's the creator. It's the redstone on the Thanos glove. It gives us existence. Without Saturn, we fall away to dust. This is why it's the most coveted in the secret society times, groups, I should say. And you know, in the secrets of the world, this is the planet that is responsible for everything. So this is in Maze Runner as well. Wait, is Deus Ex? No, 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 no. Just the Nordic one is in Maze Runner. It's the maze. Oh, actually, this is in Maze Runner. In Maze Runner, in the seventh gate that's open for them to escape, they have to run through a room of tall blades that move. So in the beginning of the move, the maze is the Nordic symbol, and in Maze Runner, they have to run through these wind turbines. So, and then all the bad guys in Maze Runner is wearing black, like the Matrix. So it's a lot of Matrix references in this movie. It's like they copied from the same exact source.
I'll have to check it out.
That's Amaterasu. She's Inanna Ishtar. And Inanna Ishtar is an important Anunnaki. She's Anu's granddaughter. Like I told you, she's the only one that got land like the boys. She got Asia. So in Asia, she becomes Amaterasu. And you can see the sun shining behind her, the black sun, not the sun that makes everything grow and keeps us warm, but the black sun. She's the morning star. She's the reason for what do you call it? Oh, Easter. Her dying under
Easter.
in the underworld and coming back up and everything grown. She's the original for Easter. She's the first morning star, not Lucifer. This is why it's Jesus says that he is the morning star. He knows that it's a title.
Yeah.
It's a title of representation, a high honor. Here's to go back to my menorah theory. John 16, and he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp 2-edged sword. Out of his countenance was the sun shining in his strength. Let's go to the other one. Wait, that's this is the 7-Eleven box. It has 6 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just like the hexagons on the North Pole of Saturn. It has the rings, just like Saturn, and it has the number 7 for the 7 rings of Saturn.
Oh yeah.
Do you see it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Now, a pizza box is supposed to be square, not geometric. I would believe. So they hide these. The Saturn is everything in our products. It has the rings of Saturn. It has the number 7 for the rings that Saturn has, and then it has the 6-sided hexagon. Resolution. Okay, in his right hand he held the 7 stars, and coming out of his mouth was a sharp double-edged sword. His face was like the sun shining in all of his brilliance. There's another one. Okay, I think it's this one. Revelation 2:1. To the angel of the church in the Ephesus write, these are the words of him who holds the 7 stars in his right hand and walks among the 7 golden lampstands. They're talking about the menorah.
Oh yeah.
So the 7 stars are the 7 the planetary body. Like this is the most. It's in our writing as important. And we think it's normal stuff, and it's not. 2 of these menorahs together on top of each other that equals the the solar system. Look at this building. I'm going to count out the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now think of the menorah stand with the 9 branches. The one in the middle has the sun over top of it.
That's it. Yeah.
Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this would make 7. So at the bottom, you have the 9 representation of the menorah and the 7 if you count the windows. But the middle is the sun. You have that solar system representation. So it's in our architecture. There's no reason for scientific things to be on our religious structures. And deem it as important to be there. It has an importance, so important that it has to be there. This is from the video Black Hole Sun 1994. You see the umbrella?
Yeah.
And it has the black sun. This is the Target symbol for their for their shopping bags.
Okay.
This is Shemesh's star. This is his symbol from Babylon. This is the middle candlestick of the menorah. This is a frequency of 3,835 when you put it on an amplifier. So if you see these guys are holding that frequency is resonating through their body. The one behind them is holding his prayer hand up, as the one in front is holding his hand so he can receive that same resonance through his body. And then you connect directly with the source. So I know how to do magic rituals now from all of my carvings. As you can see at the bottom, there's a wave going through the floor, and as you can see, the wave is going through his clothes as well. That's the frequency I'm talking about. Oh man, I hit the wrong button. That's the frequency I'm talking about. That has to run through you in order to have a direct audience. There's his clothes right there. You see that? The waves running through to his feet, under his feet.
Yeah.
The way it's closed off. So I Googled what happens when you stand between two powerful magnets. And you're not going to like the results, especially if you have any implants. But it definitely disrupts the ions in your cells. So this ritual is going to hopefully not turn me into Dr. Manhattan, but I have to do it to prove that this is how it works. So when this winter solstice, when Saturn's on his way, the reason for Christmas. Let me tell you about Saturnalia really quick.
Yeah. Okay.
Saturnalia. Do you know about Saturnalia, the Romans?
I know a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So Saturnalia is a cool holiday, and this is coming from an ex Jewish person / Israelite. Saturnalia is cool. So what they did was they cut trees, presents, festivals. It was a cool time, December 17th. And it was so cool that it lasted to the 25th, which is the reason why they had to make JC's birthday the 25th. But everyone thinks it's about the presents and the tree and all that silly stuff. They can do that gift giving any time of the year. It wasn't about that. It was about the role reversal. So if you was a baker, you became a high lord, or if you was someone that had a lot of responsibility, you got to be someone who didn't and didn't have the stresses of inventory or finances. So this was luck. This is the reason why role reversals was such a big deal, is because you got to cheat the matrix. You got to cheat the system and what was set for you. You're poor, you're rich. That was the importance of Saturnalia, the role reversal, because Saturn is on its way on by the 25th. Hanukkah and Christmas is the same day this year, the 25th.
Okay.
So it's a celebration of the winter solstice of Saturn coming. So if you're Jewish, you need to grab your menorah and get the lighting, and ask for, maybe a raise, or start getting your wish on. And if you're Christian, I wouldn't be kissing under a mistletoe tree, where people were sacrificed, and the 12 days where people were sacrificed. I would concentrate on the role reversal. Honestly, that is what great therapy.
Yeah. They've inverted everything, haven't they?
Oh man, that is so cool. It's kind of like Halloween, role reversal. So, they didn't want to give up this holiday, so they made JC's birthday on the 25th. So people put themselves into debt. There's a stress that's put on you before Thanksgiving commercials even show. They're letting you know, pull that credit card out, and we can still keep the economy rolling through other ways. We don't have to keep these ancient traditions. And every person that dies in the Middle East till today's time, I'm going to blame the Bible for it. And I'm going to dig and dig and dig and dig and run my mouth until everyone understands that we are fighting over sand and dirt. The promised land is only special because someone told us it was.
Yeah. Stories.
Let's move on. We can break down the reason why you say amen, why you walk around the Kaaba counterclockwise like the storm of Saturn. Do you know that on the Enki is such a genius, that he went on the moon to observe the solar system. He was up there so long that Enlil was worried, like, what is he doing up there? Because he's known as a trickster. What the heck is he doing up there so long? So I'm like, after I've done my Anunnaki studies, I'm just going into space. Like, I wonder what Enki was up to with space. Then I find out why the Sabbath day is on Saturday. On every planet, the storms go clockwise, like the storms on Earth. The only thing that goes counterclockwise is Saturn. So on Jupiter, it has a great red eye, the all-seeing eye. And guess what? On the 6th Earth Day, which is Saturday, it goes counterclockwise.
Oh, really? Wow.
What? Saturn's magic and influence on this system is king. That dude activates an all-seeing eye. This is why the holy day is on Saturday. You are being watched very closely. On Neptune, there's an equator where the upper half goes one way wind direction, the bottom half goes another wind direction. And guess what? Neptune has an eye too. So when it's at the bottom, the eye goes one direction, and when it goes to the top, it goes in reverse.
Interesting.
When the planets go around their ring on the system, Saturn can activate that eye and see the entire system. It governs the laws and karma and all of that of the whole entire system. It's a magic to Saturn. It's as well. It controls this system.
Wow, mind blowing.
Yeah,
That.
very powerful stuff. Not just us, because the Anunnaki claim that there's already planets that shows tribute to them when they was on their way here. So it doesn't just govern us, it governs the system. So everyone, including the Anunnaki, has feared the creator of all things. Space is a supercomputer, and each system, the architect, just like in the Matrix, gets to sit back and watch, everything that happens, and has the planets that set the laws of karma and all kinds of things already, like a hands-free Tesla, self-driving. The creator of all things is amazing. He's cursed the Anunnaki in countless ways where they were, fearful of the creator of all things. It's said that the lightning and thunder were so violent on earth when he sent the flood to wash away the giants and all the abominations that the Anunnaki created, not human women. As you notice, the Bible is just a woman bashing device. Lot's wife turns into a pillow of salt when she turns around. Eve bites the apple and ruins it for man. You can take a girl and make her yours, and so it's nonsense. It's a man's story,
Yeah,
and
patriarchy though, wasn't it?
oh man, it's ridiculous. It
Yeah.
really is. It really is. So I know I jump all over the place, but it's just so many subjects to cover. I didn't even talk about the Ark of the Covenant and how it's a amplifier, and it belongs at the top of the Pyramid of Giza. As you use it as a beacon to signal messages to other planets, and someone went to the top of the king's chamber, I believe it is. Where's this? Wait. I don't want to quote that wrong. But anyway, there's a sarcophagus. There's a tomb that the corner of it is broken off and shot into the ceiling across the room, and it shows whatever was in that box is very, very powerful. And it was the amplifier. It duplicated energy. It parted the river. It didn't just blow the walls of Jericho down. This thing is powerful stuff. And I believe Akhenaten stole it. And this is the whole reason for the chase. And Akhenaten was banished. I don't know if I told you, but Akhenaten changed he was a pharaoh, and he changed all the laws. There was no other Egyptian gods. He called them false gods. So he wiped all the Egyptian gods away, and only had them worshiping Saturn. So he's the one true God. So this is the inspiration for Moses and the one true God, and that journey of that comes from Akhenaten. He took all the false gods away and gave them Saturn, which is really freaking cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's it. Yeah, I respect a dude like that. That could.
The amount of knowledge that you brought to the table tonight, Focus, incredible.
Man, it's so wide stretched. I've been all over. Like, there's a temple in China called the Temple of the Celestial Clouds. They'll teach you walking through walls, seeing spirits, having visions, dream time, stopping time, invisibility, suspended animation. I think I said walking through walls, shape shifting, defense magic, healing magic, sex magic, materialization, telekinesis, constructing a river by drawing a line on the ground, wrapping up the heavens, astrology, weather magic, bringing storms to a battlefield, is a great advantage over another faction. This is why every king had wizards. Divination magic, corpse magic. Everyone did magic back in the day. It wasn't a big deal. This is why Jesus was said that he did it perfect every time, because everyone was doing magic. So this thing, magic was not a big deal. The books had to be taken at a certain point, because if you saw someone happy, you could ruin their happiness, just seeing them holding hands and you were sour, uh, and you wanted to ruin, what they had going on. You could.
Yeah.
You could. So in my book, I explained the similarities of everyone's mythology creation story, and including magic practices as well. Uh, Let me tell you about, since I told you about Solomon earlier, let me tell you about Tierra no Masakado from Japan. He was 7 feet tall. He had two pupils in his eyes. He was a samurai warlord that was so feared that bribes are still offered to him today. Uh, he was killed and his spirit haunted them. His rage for his body to be reunited with his head. Now, it's like the headless horseman origin. He can make 6 clones of himself in battle. So it took a woman, a prostitute told his secret. She found out that only one of his shadows, only one of his clones cast a real shadow, and the rest were fake clones. So by her doing that, his enemies found his secret, just like Samson. Hair being cut was, his strength. She snitched on his strength, and he died by that. So there's the same story of not letting a woman take, over your whole existence and telling them your secrets. That, that's Japan's version of the Samson story. So, everybody has the same stuff, is just twisted around a little bit
Yeah.
differently, but
Different
with the same
interpretation.
points.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so we discuss colors, we discuss shapes, why religious symbols work, why you need it all over your house, why it's all over your, it's power within that. Now let's talk about words. The power of words, where you have to be careful what you say. You cast spells when you speak and when you write. This is why it's called spelling.
Yeah.
Uh, Words, you use the muscles in your tongue, your lips, and your jaws, your larynx, to make vocal cords vibrate into words. We change the sounds by uh, stretching and contracting the muscles connected to our vocal cords. Speaking involves vibration, air past our vocal cords. Speaking spins vibrational waves out of your mouth like a Wi-Fi symbol. So when you're saying something, you're putting your words into the ether, into the universe.
Yeah.
This is why you gotta. This is why your word is your contract. You don't have to sign a contract. Your word is your contract. This is why Enki vowed that he wouldn't uh, tell humanity about the flood through an oath. He didn't want to, but then when he explained to the humans how salvation had to be done, he did it through dream magic, not through speaking. So he didn't break his word. He kept it. technically. So now he's known as a trickster.
Interesting.
He also tricked King Anu when his son went to Nibiru. He didn't tell him that he was half human. And, Anu had to figure out why he wasn't eating the food of life and the water of life and why he wasn't doing the rituals that Anunnaki do. And then when he found out, he was like, oh, okay, party's over, and sent them back home. So yeah, Enki is known as the trickster. So that's the power of words. Keeping your words. Be careful what you're saying. Don't say negative things. This is a quote by Bruce Lee. Don't speak negatively about yourself, even as a joke. Your body doesn't know the difference. Words are energy and cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. Now, if you listen to some of the poisonous rap music today, I don't know if you're familiar with Megan Thee Stallion, but she's just not to pick on her because all of them do it. But one of her hooks goes, "I'm a savage," classic, uh, 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 bougie, ratchet, acting stupid. What's happening? What's happening? Now, if that song comes on the radio 10 times, 15 times a day, and you're in your car and you're singing it, your body is retaining those negative words. And it's storing, it's because your body is 75% water, correct?
That's right.
And they did an experiment on water where a Japanese scientist, you meditate on the water and it crystallizes into different shapes.
Correct.
Now they can tell by different crystallizations whether something is a positive or negative emotion. So that's the power of how much the water is in your body. It's absorbing these negative words. So you gotta be careful what you say.
100%.
Frequencies and vibrations direct energy and how words were created. Numbers have magic properties as well. Sacred geometry was created using words as well, because there's letters. I mean, there's shapes and words. So that's how all of this works.
It's incredible.
The Anunnaki were very advanced. I'll give them that. Want to hear something really funny? The Inuit origin story. Raven had made his way around the world, and the waters with the beats of its wings. He had the powers of both man and bird, and can change from one to another simply by pulling his beak over his head as one lifts a mask. Now, I told you when Alalu first came here, he got his eagle helmet. So the Inuit are describing a space helmet that's the shape of a animal, and depending on your region, depending on what animal sometimes they use as representation. So that just goes to show you how they went around with the Dogon tribe says in fish skin, and they paraded as gods, and that's how they did everything. That's how they did religion and things like that, and got people to worship them. These magic acts. Anyone sees it, and you're a believer. If me and you went to an island right now that's never seen human beings before, I mean, advanced beings before. Let's say we had on a suit, with a helmet, and we bring down our cell phone, and we bring down, all kinds of up-to-date tech, and show it to them. Oh man, I heard there's this tribe that a plane had came and brought them food, and by the time the people came back, like years later, they had stone statue of the plane.
Mm.
So that shows you
Absolutely.
how vulnerable humans are to
Yes.
the things that come from above, and they deem it God. um,
Yeah. No,
and
definitely.
uh, and this is how magic was influential in the past. Pope Arnius III, the 13th century, instructed his priests to conquer demons and control them for good purposes to harness their power. They even provided a calendar plan so they could summon an evil entity every day of the week. Now, the archons made a total of 365 demons, so this is possible. So they took Solomon's interviewing demon strategy and used it for power. So this is how some of the wealth of these temples and churches, they were summoning, they were using magic. Don't let anyone tell you you can't use magic, because our religious institutions use magic itself to even get anything going.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
everything works.
Yeah. No, it's all energy.
Yeah, it's all, and that's what we are. In the astral plane, we're just vibration, energy. There's no flesh. So, uh, we're in our avatars. Our body lasts 100 years, but our
Mm.
spirit is internal. And I really honor my mother for that. She's a really devout Jewish woman. You can't even get her to cut a corner or do anything that's not decent. She's very strict. um I forgot my point, but yeah, she's very devout, so it's really hard to share
Of
everything with
course.
everyone. I try to keep certain people out of my spectrum of frequency. When you do a lot of service for a long time, the shock can be so detrimental that you can't even process it. It can shut you down. You can have a
Yeah.
heart attack and die just hearing something that breaks your heart. So,
Yeah.
like, this stuff is sensitive stuff. It
Oh,
really is.
definitely.
Yeah, it really is. Well,
Fo- Focus.
yeah, yeah,
You,
yeah. Ask me anything you want. Like, if there's anything specific, I think I've covered. How the ancients worship Saturn,
mm-hmm.
how Saturn, the rays. You saw the pictures of Akhenaten and how it has hands on the bottom of the rays, how it has a hold on everything. So how its influence is already there. We just don't see it.
Mm.
Um, and it runs things. I mean, Uranus is sideways, and no one can figure that out. And the funny thing is, it has the hexagon, the same type of hexagon that Saturn has on it, on Uranus. So, like, Uranus is just completely weird. It has a hot core, but it's like frozen solid. It has, violent winds like everywhere else. Like, all the gas planets are just so weird in our system. And I just wanted to explain to everyone how the planets rule everything so much that it's even smuggled into your buildings, with the
Yes.
9, the 7, the 12 constellations. Why do you need all of this on your building of faith? I think it's unnecessary to have that much stuff unless space is that much important.
Yeah.
And it is. It truly is. So, um, yeah, I hope the carvings impressed you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned
Yeah.
you've have you wrote a book or are you writing a book?
I'm writing a book. It takes so long because
Mm.
every civilization won. I got past that part. I'm at the creation stories. I kind of did it backwards, like George Lucas. But the Sumerian tablets, creation stories, mythology, in the Bible is like 1 + 1 = 2. And then when you check your math, 2 - 1 = 1. You can go frontward or backward, and it'll make it seem like the Sumerian tablet stole from the Bible and mythology. But if you start with the Sumerian tablet, as time proves is older, it looks like mythology, creation stories, and the Bible stole from it. So the Sumerian tablets is the source of origin for everything on this planet. I just need everyone to understand that we need to move on to greener pastures. Racism hurts society. Everyone has a contribution. There's lots of African American inventors of certain surgeries and machines that we don't even know about. I could Google a list, and they would be all important contributions. The lady that helped NASA land a shuttle because she was a math whiz. Like, this let them eat cake Antoinette thing didn't work. Marie Antoinette, it didn't work for them. And we're supposed to learn from history that rich people here, while everyone else fends around the corner and down the street, they live around near you. They're on their way, lifting your windows and coming into your house, disturbing your peace. It doesn't work where one person is above the other. We have to get on the same playing field, even if it's everyone's under the same stipend allowance. And if you're a business, you can make your own extra money, but everyone's in service to a one world federation that's drawn to space. It should be our only frontier. It should be our only interest. And we'll find out that, there's already a federation that's already sitting at the table. We just want our taste. Let's get advanced. If everyone, so if I hung out with you long enough, my friend Ant, I could finish your thoughts. When you have a sweet tooth, or I want pizza, I'll say, let's get some pizza.
Me and my missus do that all the time.
Exactly, because you were around each other for the long period of time. They made cell phones where you pair them together. One's the left speaker, one's the right speaker. They didn't get that from nowhere. That's because our brains have the potential of amazing things. So if everyone was on the same frequency on this planet, and we all meditated to Saturn, healing us or keeping us safe from any bodies in space that come into our system that could harm us, like, oh my goodness, we would be so powerful. We would be on a different wave. And I think they would say, okay, they finally get it, let them sit at the table. Let them sit at the table.
I want to thank you so much for this.
Yeah, I thank you too.
What has been a presentation and a lecture and a real learning adventure.
Oh man,
I appreciate it.
I really appreciate you, and I'm sorry I was caught off guard. My computer let me down.
Don't worry about that.
Second. And I couldn't run it the way I wanted to, but I'm so grateful that I was able to show you the importance of some of the things that surround us in our life. The Statue of Liberty is Inanna Ishtar. She represents women's rights. So when you go to New York, you'll see a giant statue of Inanna. When you go to Starbucks, she's the person on the cup. I know it's the siren mermaid, but the origin is Inanna Ishtar. She's the morning star. So when you hold that cup of coffee in your hand, 6 a.m. as the sun's rising, hello, morning star. It's our whole civilization, society, is in a Anunnaki shadow. And I want everyone to know, as you look at everything around you, it's right there in your face.
Yeah,
I
100%.
showed you a little bit, but it goes really deep. It goes really deep. But I thank you, man. I've been waiting for a while for this day. I wish I had the slide presentation for your audience, but everyone does magic every day. Birthday candle. Last thing, birthday candle. So on your birthday, you have to close your eyes. You have to turn out the lights and go into complete darkness, right?
Yeah.
With the candle lit. Now, all the ancients went into dark caves to meditate because that's just a better process. So when you're manifesting and meditating, you have a clear canvas to work with. So on your birthday, you turn out the light and you light your candle. You focus really hard. You concentrate. You concentrate. You concentrate. Everyone's standing around you in a circle, by the way, surrounding you. A ritual, and then you blow out the candle. That means, like I told you, everyone, the fire represents the connection to the planet. So that's the true purpose of a birthday wish. You keep that wish to yourself, and especially if you're a kid, because you're innocent, goodwill runs through you. The magic process is even higher,
Yeah,
even
definitely.
higher. But I
Definitely.
got to stop blabbing because if I ever, I will blab until the sun comes up. It's just so much to cover, and I haven't even scratched the surface of the rituals, the carvings, magic, how we do it every day. From knocking on wood to birthdays to the things that women can do with their bodies. So yeah, we're made of magic. It took a magic incantation to make us through our process. So this is the reason why, like, it's not the staff and the magic wand that has magic.
No, it's
It's
you.
an extension of you. It helps you harness. It's a harness of imaginable power that you don't want to come directly through you, so you can channel it through the staff or the wand.
Love it. I love
The
that.
magic is already inside of you. You do
And that's it.
magic every day.
And that, you know what, focus, that is the perfect way to end a podcast so people
Yes, sir.
realize how powerful they are.
Man, I respect you. I love your show. I've been, watching all your episodes, so I'm trying to keep up. But I love the near-death experiences. That is cool because once you take a survey of the world's stuff, there is no way it can be proven a lie because it's too much data out there. So everyone,
Yeah.
get into this esoteric knowledge. Which is the best chicken sandwich is fine every once in a while, but we really got to push our limits into enlightenment. And I thank you for being on your show. Hopefully I can come again, and I'll give
Definitely.
you updates when I'm done my book and when I start my YouTube channel. And
Yeah, you
and
must.
yes, sir, this was fun. Thank you so much for
You,
having me.
you're very welcome, and we'll definitely do more. We'll definitely do more. We'll get deeper and cut them up into segments maybe and go and get detailed. And that'll
Oh
be really
yeah,
good.
I'll be ready next time. I'll be
Cool,
ready
man.
for you. But
Well,
have a great day. And the God of Gnosis. I give titles. I don't do the regular human names. We are all gods. We have His light inside of us. that you can draw out. We'll talk about that next time. The light that's
Perfect.
inside of you.
Sounds wonderful.
The Disney Wish movie, how the light is already, you can activate your light. You'll go Super Saiyan. You'll be faster than everyone else, wiser than everyone else. I'm going to explain how people can see sounds. I'm going to explain how a person dribbles a basketball and makes someone fall, stop in time. I'm going to go into magic and how it's in everything we do. So for all the religious people that say we can't, not supposed to, you're already doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Good
Thank
day,
you,
my
brother.
friend.
Thank you
All
very
right, my
much.
friend. Have a great one.
Keep in touch.